Greetings, everyone. I'm here with Diane Leilani Klein. I'm Ben Goldson, and today we're talking about um, becoming more in tune with your authentic self. Diane, you've given 116 retreats, and you've helped people become aware of what is authentic to them and how they can express that, get rid of limitations, and be deeply in tune with their authentic self and what their soul is calling into be experienced in this life. So I want to ask you how you help them with that, but also how you've come to learn about your own authentic self and how you got rid of the limitations to, live a true life to what you feel is in alignment with what your soul wants.
Thank you, Ben. Yeah, it's been a real passion sharing with people how to be their authentic self. For me, it's been a foundation. It's definitely been a journey to get there. A couple of the tools that I've used are I have 27 years background in Kundalini yoga and meditations and breath work and sound. So it's definitely a practice. And really, I'd like to talk about the benefits of being the authentic self
Mm-hmm.
first. Is it's just so much easier to be you when you don't have to worry about pleasing others. So I was a really big people pleaser just from my childhood. And I can speak to the difference of, and of course, empathic and intuitive. So coming out of that people pleasing phase, being the authentic self, you're able to birth whatever it is that to live the life that you're meant to live, whether it's in your business, whether it's in relationships, or just in everyday relationships, everyday interactions. So giving yourself, number one, giving yourself permission to be your authentic self, permission to live the life that you want to live, that's huge right there. So we can think about that and we can talk about that, and that's part of the vision. But the way to really create that shift, the energetic shift, is through practicing certain meditations and having energetic practices of breath work and meditation, which allow you to do that. So the background that I have has really allowed me to launch people. I mean, I've shared with over 7,000 people in over 10 years, and it's been really exciting to see people move into being self-employed. I have so many people, maybe they want to get out of the tech industry and they want to go open their own vineyard in Italy. And I have other people that do something in software and they want to be a life coach. So helping people to step into that authentic self, whether it's through their career or within their relationship, really has been such a big passion for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the energetics is a very important thing because, there's so many different selves that talk in our self-talk. There's voices of the parents. There's a lot of research that shows like even the ancestral genetic patterns, create self-talk, and there's so much, and it feels like when you're doing like Kundalini yoga practices and somatically processing different unprocessed emotions, that's really important for clearing the self-talk because without clearing that, you have, I don't know, shame, guilt, regret, societal programming, and I feel, the processes that you're doing is really helpful for clearing that away, and then this different voice is able to be heard, this more quiet, gentle voice of the soul versus strong societal programming and all that.
Yeah, absolutely. And to step out of that, I think an easy kind of beginning step is with our beautiful friendships. So if we can agree to be in relationship or in a divine witness situation with someone, even with it's starting with two of your close friends or two of your new friends, and just saying, you know what, from this moment on, I am just going to speak my truth. And can you support me in that? Would you support me in I giving me the space to speak my truth, whatever it is, from my heart in that moment? And when you can get somebody else to agree to that kind of partnership, wow, that just opens up all this new space of, and it becomes, how is it that we want to dance? But if you can get someone, that would be kind of step one, get someone to practice. Like, hey, starting from right, and that may not be your mother or your daughter or your brother, because there's already a pattern. But it might be a really good friend to come into that space of being authentic and being vulnerable and practicing that I'm just going to speak my truth. Of course, we're speaking it with compassion, but coming into this idea of radical honesty, that I'm okay. It's okay for me to speak my truth and to be honest. And when we can come into this place of radical honesty, that's how we start living the life of our dreams. That's how we're going to get to really create what it is that we want to create, whether we're creating it within a relationship, or we're creating it in our projects, or we're creating it in where we live. And coming into the new now, which I know is your podcast, which I'm so thrilled to be a part of. And each moment that we can allow ourselves the radical honesty, that puts us on a new platform of what I consider to be unlimited possibilities.
Totally. So can you explain, as a people pleaser in the past, what was it like when you started getting the insights like, okay, I got to stop doing this? And what was it feeling like as you went through those new thresholds of saying no to things that you didn't want to do and disappointing people, but also when you disappoint those people, you're saying yes to your soul. So that must have been, uncomfortable as a challenge, but of course it brought so much growth. So
Okay, so I didn't know you were going to ask that question, but the answer is health issues. So, and one of the things as doing the spiritual coaching and the business coaching and the health coaching with the sound healing and the yoga and the meditation, I've been able to help people heal their bodies. And with the coaching, the answer to that is any health issue we have, we've created it. So as I'm backtracking to answer, what happened was I had, and this was probably just about 3 years ago, I think 3 years ago this month, I had a severe health issue that came up, and Western science said XYZ, and I said, I'm not going to do that. So what I had to do is I had to sit with myself and answer the question, why did I create this? I had to be the radical honesty was with myself. And I teach self-responsibility. Why did I create this? What is the benefit that I'm getting from this health issue? And I was standing in the ocean, and the answer was, well, if I have XYZ, I don't have to do anything I don't want to do. So that belief system showed that I was doing so much that I didn't want to do. And most of what I was doing that I didn't want to do, because, I'd been accustomed to, working 11 hours a day, was always saying yes to serving others, always saying yes to the next retreat, to the next coaching, to the next class, yes to everybody in my family, and especially when it was from a point of service, because I'm very service orientated, and I really am committed to helping humanity make the shift. So that health crisis showed to me I have to start saying no, because saying yes constantly all the time was inappropriate. And I had to really discern if it was in my highest interest and the highest interest of the client. And luckily, within about a month, I was able to shift that, in addition to sound healing and meditations. But that's the thing. Once either somebody else is holding space for you where you can be honest with yourself, you can get the solution. So I tease people, I'm like, if you're brave enough to schedule the private session with me. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hold space, because it's always your higher self that has the answers. And I'm just bridging it for you. I'm just holding the space that it's safe for you to be honest with you. I had this one client that she had breast cancer. So when you order the session, you get one question. She asked that question, why do I have, or she said, I have breast cancer. And right out of the gate, I just said, why do you have breast cancer? And immediately she said, because I'm afraid my husband's going to leave me. She knew the immediate answer. And she wasn't afraid of it like physically. Well, she was afraid that he was going to die. But she knew immediately, within 3 seconds, she could answer that question in this space of it is safe to be honest with yourself. It's like, this is the gem, the jewel. I've seen it in 27 years of practice and 17 years of coaching and assisting other people. It is the answer. By having this space of it's safe to be honest with yourself and with others.
That's amazing.
So thank you for asking that question.
Yeah. That had to do with, radical self-honesty, and it's hard to like go through something very intense like that and to take accountability, because, we're just trained to be, almost victims. The modern world is very scientific and it's not as spiritual. It's saying like, oh, we're a result of electrical things in the brain versus I'm the spiritual creator of my life. And for you to take that stance, I think that's just so beautiful, because not only did you address it, but look at you now, you're just, the authenticity leads to evolving and upgrading and transformation. And that's just so beautiful.
Yeah, it really is. And I find it gets easier. So too, as we can practice it with ourselves and we have agreement with, let's say, 2 people that agree like, hey, we can always just be honest with each other. And, if I'm speaking something, you're not going to take it personally. And you know that it just has to be, I'm taking full responsibility for myself and you can take full responsibility for yourself. And then it just becomes this question of, how do we want to dance authentically together? So it's a higher platform.
Right. And that leads us into our next topic, which is self-confidence and self-empowerment, self-cultivation versus codependency. Earlier you were talking about, you were saying yes to all this and yes to all that, but you were saying no to cultivating your energy, basically. Even if you didn't consciously realize that, you were saying yes to, working hard and spending a lot of time doing something. You're saying yes to that, but you're also saying no. There's always a presence and absence, and you're saying no to cultivating more energy, to recovering. And so you said, I'm going to switch this. I'm going to say yes to self-cultivation and healing. And that allowed you to be much more in tune with what feels good. And then you understood the codependency that you had even in a business space where you were overworking. And so talk a little bit about, as you get to that new threshold of what feels good for you and trusting in your own decision making versus, saying yes to everything. And I believe, when we're overworking it does imply lack of vibration as well, because it's like, if I don't say yes to this client, money's going to be harder to come by or something like that. So it is confidence versus codependency. And I want to hear some of your thoughts on that.
Yeah. So I know for myself, to step out of the codependency, my daily meditation definitely helps with that, and that's what I share on the retreats and in the coaching, is because doing that daily meditation for 11 minutes a day, and we have specific ones for releasing frustration, for releasing anxiety, for getting clarity, for strengthening your auric field, especially if you're a fellow teacher and we're used to serving a lot of people. We need a strong auric field for that. That gives me the courage and the confidence to step out of that in an energetic way. Because again, the thoughts, we can be thinking I'm strong, I'm courageous, but it's really the breath work and the energetic that's going to get us into that new space. So, I'd love to just take, even if it's less than 1 minute and share a little bit of a meditation? Could I do that?
Yeah, totally.
Okay, so this is a really potent meditation for conquering any imagined limitations. And it's 3 parts. When we do it, it's 9 minutes. I'm just going to give you a little brief overview so you can get a feeling. And I'm hoping that our audience is going to try it at home too. So it's going to be breathing in and out of the mouth. The first part with the arms up, you're going to be just a flick of the wrists. And so we'll just do maybe 10 seconds of each of these movements. So ideally the eyes are closed, we're breathing in and out of the mouth, and you're turning the wrists in. Beautiful. The second part would be, I call it running with the arms, and you're alternating the arms and you're pushing the palms out, still with the same breath work. Eyes are closed. Beautiful. Last one, the palms are facing up, and you're going to lift the palms all the way above the crown, and we're going to do this for about 10 seconds. The breath is also in and out through the mouth. Beautiful. Now inhale and hold and squeeze. Make this just squeeze here for 10 seconds. Exhale. With eyes closed, take a couple cleansing breaths. So, of course, you notice for yourself the energetic change. And again, that was 30 seconds. So you can imagine when you're doing a 9-minute practice of literally this frequency shift, this vibrational shift for conquering any imagined limitations, known or unknown. And then when you do that meditation for a series, ideally 40 days straight, you're going to see a shift in your outer world. So in the context that we're talking about today is releasing any limitations about being honest. So, and about, stepping out of the codependency. But that's what I like to do. I like to share with people active meditations and breath work that is then their homework. And it's the practice that you make the practice your own. So it's not just we're having a conversation or we're at a 5-day retreat and we're talking about ideas. You're getting physical tools to create the shift in all 10 of your bodies and at the quantum level. So that's why people have so much success in seeing the change in the outer and seeing a very rapid change within themselves. So step 1 is really just having the courage to book the session.
Mm-hmm. How does someone develop courage? That's another big important question.
Yeah. For me, everything's a practice, right? I mean, you could be thinking in your mind, or you might think and know that you need more courage to try something new, courage to be authentic. But for me, it is through the practices of, and also doing things that give you strength, physical strength, mental strength, strength of patience, right? To be patient with yourself. So again, these foundations of the yoga, the meditations, and the sound healing are all giving you in all these frequencies. So it's not just this mental thought technique, it's we're shifting it in your body. When you start to feel strong in your body, or just getting people grounded in their bodies. If you can get grounded, we can get you grounded in your body, you're going to have the courage to be authentic. And, that's a whole nother week topic, right?
And thankfully you have retreats so they can come learn that in depth.
Yeah, absolutely. And to have the combination of all of them.
Totally.
And I love what you do with the new now and bringing that to people. So you just have such a beautiful presence of bringing this presence to people, of allowing them the space to create themselves in a new way.
Totally. Yeah. You want to keep going?
Yeah. So what I love, one of the reasons I wanted to co-create this with you is just because I've seen in your Instagram how you talk about the authentic self, and it's just really articulated in such a clear manner of this is the opportunity to be authentic. This is what it feels like to be authentic. It's funny because our Instagrams are so opposite. Mine is like 10 words and a very short video. And yours is like just this beautiful flowing articulation of this is an example of what it looks like and feels like to be authentic. So thank you for your sharing there and for your life coaching. And your Instagram is?
Light Benji, LIGHTBENG.
Beautiful. My Insta is Empowerment Retreats, and you can find me on Yoga Inspirations, and I hope to see all of you live in some of the great locations that we hold the retreats, all the Hawaiian Islands, Sedona, Bali, and Europe too. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you guys so much.